Hey guys, Dale here from Schwartz Performance for our July 2020 shop update. Man, things have not slowed down here. We are crazy busy, extremely blessed to be that busy and getting lots of phone calls and people wanting builds and chassis and everything. So thank you all to have been supporting us through these times. Now, this month has been pretty busy as far as show stuff as well. Now, a lot of the shows have been canceled or postponed, including most of the Good Guys shows for this year. We were thankful to be able to head to the Good Guys Des Moines show with the SCART early in this month. And we had a bunch of friends show up too. Mark with his 74 Gremlin, Dan and Josh Howe and Casey with their Schwartz equipped G-bodies and Willies. And then Ryan Buck showed with his 68 Camaro. So we all had a blast autocrossing. Josh ended up taking home the truck class win and the shootout win for the truck and hot rod class in his 86 El Camino, which is equipped with a Schwartz chassis and LS power. So that was really cool. The SCART did fairly well for its first time out. I was driving and it was a completely different animal than, say, the Tempest that I normally take there. So it took a little bit of getting used to. But all in all, we made some adjustments and we'll continue to do so until it's a lot faster than it is currently. Other shows we got going on, we've had a lot of local shows that we've been able to go to and get some exposure. And the next big show that we're going to be going to is actually a race out at the UMI Raceway Park in Pennsylvania. It's called the UMI King of the Mountain. So I'll be racing the Tempest there. As you recall, has added a lot of power to it. So be a completely different animal again for me to drive in that section. Other things going on, we've got some new t-shirts on the way. So they'll be up on our website here in probably the next week or so. So keep an eye out for that. Get your hands on some while they last. And yeah, let's check out what's going on in the shop. Well, we've torn Augie's 78 Mercedes-Benz apart quite a bit. We got the engine and trans out, floor pans out, and Doug's been working on the custom chassis for this thing. So we've got most of the perimeter done. The rocker area is cut out now for the chassis to fit up into. This thing's going to be pretty low. The stance is right about where it's set here. Still got to get some wheels and tires fit up in there too. Meanwhile, we got the LT4 dry sump fitted to the Tremec T56 Magnum. And this thing is a dry sump engine, so it does require the extra oil tank with it. This guy plans on doing some road racing events and stuff, so the dry sump was definitely the way to go on this. We may be building it up a little bit, but that's still kind of up in the air because 650 horsepower and this thing is going to be quite a riot. So we're still working on a lot of the chassis stuff. It'll be done here probably in the next few weeks, and then we'll get on to the rest of the pre-assembly of the car. Now, I do want to remind you all that we are a Chevrolet Performance authorized reseller. So this is a connecting cruise setup straight from GM, comes with a clutch, bell housing, engine and trans, and wiring harness. So this is a complete unit that comes here. I also got word last week that the LT5 supercharged engine, the 755 horse bad boy, is now available with the 8L90 8-speed automatic. So get your orders in for that because they're not a lot of them in stock, so the sooner the better on that. But keep us in mind for all of your Mopar, Ford, and Chevrolet Performance crate engines and trans packages. Well, we've got Ray's 48 Woody here on the ground finally. Got the fuel system and a lot of other things plumbing related wrapped up, so now we're working on the interior side. Sparky's been working on a custom fuse box for the wiring system of this Woody. And basically, there's not a lot of real estate underneath the dash anymore, so a conventional fuse box isn't really going to work. So we're making up something that'll work. We've got the brake and clutch pedals mounted here, and the master cylinders are up underneath the dash at a 90 degree. So there's nothing in the engine bay regarding the master cylinders anymore, but it did take up a lot of space underneath. So we've got that mounted. We've got the Ford Performance accelerator pedal mounted to the firewall. I got the AC kit mounted back underneath the dash. We still got to figure out space for radio in here. And then in addition to that, we've just got the trans tunnel that still needs some final work. And other than that, the interior is coming along really well. We've been working hard getting Luke's 75 Trans Am here closer and closer to being able to be started and ran for the first time. Sparky's been working on all the wiring underneath the dash, so he's got that pretty much wrapped up. We got a little module that he made for the tap up and down shift for the 8L90 that may be available here shortly. And we've got a lot of the plumbing and everything done, so this thing's getting pretty close to that stage. And you know, again, as I mentioned last month, it'll get going to the interior shop shortly after that. Well, we've made quite a bit of headway on Willie and Kathy's 67 Barracuda here. Been a while since we talked about it, but we do have it running now. Not quite driving, but we're getting there. And a lot of the interior is starting to be put together. So we got the entire dash assembly together with the autometer gauges. The stereo is in there. And we're currently working on a custom carbon fiber panel that'll be on the lower part of the dash on the right side into the glove box. So we're still working on that. And over at the interior shop, a lot of the upholstery is already done. We've got the seats done. And you know, once we get it more running and driving, then we'll be able to bring it over there so Shane Caston and his team can put it all in. Well, we've been making a lot of progress on this 86 Monte Carlo project with the Hellcat and 8-speed automatic. We're trying to use as many Hellcat parts as possible. We've got the radiator mounted to the factory core support, which needed some modification to fit because factory core support on this Monte Carlo is quite a bit shorter than what a Challenger or Charger would be. I've got the factory computer mounted to the firewall here. There's not a whole lot of leeway as far as hiding things due to the length of the wires that the Hellcat came with. So Sparky's been doing his best to dissect all of the factory harness that came with this thing because, man, there is a lot of modules that the Hellcat comes with to be able to run the 8-speed and everything else. So with regards to the 8-speed, we did have to make a custom transmission tunnel, so that's all welded in now. And the drive shaft tunnel also had to be raised. So due to the height of the 8-speed automatics and most of the modern automatic transmissions, in order to get proper ground clearance to you know, underneath the frame, we don't want it hanging down too low. So we had to raise the drive shaft tunnel up quite a bit to be able to fit a drive shaft in there. So we've got that pretty much all wrapped up. The mini tubs are now complete. We had to do a little bit more work than a normal mini tub job because this guy has got 22-inch by 12 wheels, and there's just not a lot of room in these G-bodies in the back to do that and lower the car. So, so Matt's been working on a lot of the metal fab still, and coming up next is probably going to be a lot of the plumbing regarding the heat exchanger and start on the exhaust here too. He's been working really hard on the 67 Cougar project. Jim fabricated a bunch of engine covers to cover the ugliness of the new Gen 3 Coyote. And we've since taken a lot of that apart because we're working on the underside now. And we've got the exhaust mostly fabricated. So everything's cut and tacked welded together. We're still waiting on a gas tank so we can finalize the tips and everything and figure out how we're gonna go through the valance. But yeah, we've got all the mandrel bent stainless steel. It's a dual 3-inch system, so fully custom. And once the exhaust work is done and some of the engine bay stuff gets wrapped up, this thing might be taken apart to go to paint. So Ken's been working on the floor pans of this Studebaker Commander project. We've got the firewall completely fabbed, floor pans all the way back. We talked about these custom floor braces that we also made out of some laser cut material and plated them off and fully welded them together. So these are kind of tied into this thick steel plate along the sides here, which actually bolts to the chassis. So this chassis is still removable if it needs to be serviced or whatnot. We didn't weld it into the car for that reason. So, so the chassis can completely be unbolted. Interior wise, we do have the Flaming River steering column mounted, and the brake and clutch pedal will be modified next. We've got an automatic now, so it doesn't need the clutch pedal anymore, and then figure out a master cylinder solution. So with regards to the fab in here, it's pretty much complete. We do have some fab to do on the fuel filler neck in the back and figuring that out with the gas tank. And then after we get the gas tank in and everything, we're going to be starting on the exhaust fab. This was one of the new projects that I mentioned on last month's updates, a 67 Mustang. This one has kind of an Eleanor theme going on it, and the previous owner had actually fiberglassed all of the pieces together on the front end, so you couldn't actually remove the front end from the car, and that's required to be able to access everything. So we had to cut all of that stuff apart, and some of it will be bonded back together, but ended up cutting the shock towers and the front frame rails out of it and prep for the chassis installation. So the chassis is still in line to be fabricated, but once that part's done, then we'll be installing it to this thing and beginning the build. So this is kind of a partial project for now. It may morph into a full build as we go along on it, but it will be getting a Coyote and I believe a T56 transmission. So look for this in the upcoming months with additional progress on it. Well guys, that's it for our July 2020 shop update. Thanks so much for watching. If you're going to be out and about at any of the events like UMI King of the Mountain out in Pennsylvania or the LS Fest in September, hope to see you there. We're also going to be showing at some of the local cruise nights, the ones that are still around. And I do have some other news that is kind of sad. So we're going to be taking over the Woodstock Square Car Show in mid-August. The mayor of Woodstock and most of Illinois has put the kibosh on that. So we do have to cancel that. We will be back with that in 2021. Additionally, we have made the extremely hard decision to cancel our open house this year. So that would have been the end of September. And just because of everything going on and kind of uncertainty with what the next couple of months hold, we decided it'd be best to just cancel that one and hopefully have it in 2021. So we'll have a bigger announcement on our website, but you know, hope to see you at least some of the local events or LS Fest, since that'll still be going on. Again, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram, we're very active on there, and Facebook as well, and we will see you next month.